Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings, and this is Ben and Barry on football. If you've never been to our channel, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. My co-host is
That would be me. I'm the co-host. My name is Ben Dickerson, lover of everything football, especially the NFL. I've been going crazy during this pandemic, y'all. If you're football fans like we are, then you should realize that NFL Red Zone has been on every single day, all day long, 24/7, going week by week, daily of last year's NFL season. It's great. It's fabulous.
I know how much you like Red Zone, and I'm a fan also, no doubt about it. Um, I kind of got once I got Game Pass and I had the ability to go back and watch more of each game. There's just so many little things to the game that you miss in Red Zone, but hey, you get to see all the different games, at least some of you know, because at any time we could have 10+ games playing at the same time. So it's a little difficult to focus on all of that, but it's one of the great things I love about Game Pass. Yeah, lots of stuff on. Um, I'm enjoying my new uh, what would I call him? The guy that I really enjoy watching on YouTube now, Mr. Flemlow of Flemlow Raps. If you get a chance, ladies and gentlemen out there, check him out. This young man has a tremendous show, and he's got a great approach. He's been doing this a lot longer than we have. We are basically novices, football fans, just up here talking football. But he has a series, and whatever happened to, and he talks about a lot of different football personalities. And our little quote on Ben and Barry on football is life. And I think he does a great job of looking into the life of these different players. Ben, you've had a chance to kind of check him out a little bit.
Yes, I have, and I like him. He's good. He's extremely informative. He's been talking about some different football personalities, like you said, that maybe some folks have forgotten about. So that's a very interesting show that he has, and it's very informative. Good with the videos too.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get a chance. We'll learn a little something there. All right, let's kick this thing off. We generally will go to our Facebook page and go down the list of different subject matter to talk about. But I know you put some work in here, Mr. Dickerson, on the NFL draft. Am I correct?
Well, when you say put in work, I will say the answer to that question is yes. As far as trying to study, look at tape, um, check guys' measurables, try to figure out, like everybody's doing right now, where they're going to go in the draft, especially the first two rounds. So, yes, I have attempted to do some work. Yes, I have.
All right. So give me a little idea about which way you want to go with this starting out. You want to take a look at the top 20, or do you have a group that you are particularly interested in?
We can do groups a little later. Let's see if we can go with, I don't know, top 20. Yeah, we could go top 20, maybe a little further than that, based on there's so many different mock drafts out now. It's difficult to really ascertain um, who the top 20 are relative to how the teams are going to pick and whether they're going to go with best player available, best fit for their team, and things like that. But yeah, as far as the top players graded out by NFL or ESPN or whoever, yeah, we could do that. Sure, let's do that.
All right. I got a list over here, and I'm going to go down to let's go down to Tristan Wirfs. What I have here is the grading, the combine grading of all the NFL prospects based on the NFL.
Okay,
Tristan,
good.
So the top grade is an 8. That's the best that you can get. Tristan Wirfs Jr. out of Iowa comes in with a 6.48.
If you bring up a linebacker or a D-back or a receiver or a running back or a quarterback, all you have to do is go to their highlights and you can see how's their long ball look. Are they a dink and dunker? Can they move in the pocket and things like that? Offensive linemen, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to grade them because, with the limited resources that we have, because whether or not they're a really good run blocker, but maybe not so good as a pass blocker, or maybe they're good at both, kind of depends on what college they play for. You know what I mean? The conference that they're in, those kind of things. So, but what I will say about Wirfs is he is the number 1 rated lineman in the draft by most.
In the combine. I remember him in the combine being kind of like thick in the legs, but being very athletic.
Yeah, he's a big fella, 6'5", 320. Okay.
So it's a tackle.
He's an offensive tackle.
Yeah, right above him is Andrew Thomas from Georgia. He's also a tackle rated at 6.49. So you got a pair of tackles there in your top 20. We got Zach Baun, B-A-U-N, out of Wisconsin at 6.50, a linebacker, a senior. For him, anything on him?
Zach Baun, Wisconsin. Well, first of all, and we've had discussions before about the number of juniors and sophomores coming back, specifically specifically juniors. This guy happens to be a senior. I think for an offensive lineman, that's a really good thing. Oh, I'm sorry. He's not an offensive lineman. He's a linebacker. But still, I think that's a good thing. I don't believe he is overall ranked as the top linebacker coming out, but he's got great size, 6'2", 238. I think he did pretty well at the combine. What'd you say his grade was?
Sorry, 6.5.
Okay. And the top grade you can get is what, an 8?
8.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So he's a top flight guy. And I can't remember. I didn't watch Wisconsin as much as I usually do. I did look at them because I was looking at Jonathan Taylor, mostly the running back. But this guy looks like he's highly touted, probably a second rounder, possibly a first rounder.
Well, let me say that he's got the same grade as the two gentlemen before him. Mr. Clavon Chasen out of LSU, he's an edge rusher, and Yetur Gross-Matos out of Penn State, also an edge rusher. All three of them are 6.5 in their grading.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
6.7, 6.7, and 7.1. We have 3 players. We have Mekhi Becton out of Louisville. We have Javon Kinlaw out of South Carolina, and we have Patrick Queen out of LSU. Becton is a tackle, Kinlaw is a D tackle, and Queen is a linebacker. So we're moving up the list here and starting to get more into your skill positions.
Okay. Let me talk about Becton real quick here. Went to Louisville. Believe he's a tackle also. This guy's huge. 6'7", 364. And if I'm not mistaken, and if I'm not mixing him up with somebody else, this guy had a tremendous 40 time for the size that he is. Just looking at a little something here. It says he moves like somebody who weighs a lot less and only has 17% body fat. That's scary. That's scary. And if I'm not mistaken, the few times I watched Louisville, which wasn't a lot, I think I looked at him on YouTube a little bit. He's an excellent run blocker and a really good pass blocker also. So that's what you really want in your offensive lineman, somebody that can do double duty and take care of the run and the pass.
You had a point there, 6'7", 364. He's got an arm reach of 35 5/8. He's got 10 3/4 inch hands. He ran a 40 in 5.1.
Oh, okay. Okay. There was another lineman that broke 5, I think. So it wasn't him. But 5.1 is tremendous. He can outrun a lot of these quarterbacks. So, I mean, the guy can move.
Dude,
the guy can move.
6'7"?
Excuse me?
6'7"?
Yes, 6'7".
After me, I'm going to have a conniption here.
Guy can move.
I'm telling you. All right. We have two coming in at 6.72 in their rankings. One is C.J. Henderson out of Florida, cornerback, junior. And the other is Mr. Henry Ruggs III out of Alabama. And we know what those guys did, or at least what Henry Ruggs did. He was
all right. So, yeah, Ruggs' name is being kicked around quite a bit, especially here in Philadelphia, where a lot of guys on talk radio think that he will fall far enough for the Eagles to get. They are in dire need, so they seem to feel, or most of the fans seem to feel, they are in dire need of a speed receiver. And this guy would definitely fit the bill. He is a burner, okay? And let's face it, we don't know if we're ever going to see a full season out of Deshaun Jackson anymore. So, you know, I can understand them wanting to grab a guy like this. The thing is, he's so extremely fast that there are teams picking ahead of the Eagles in the draft that are probably licking their chops for the same reason. That being said, we may see the Eagles try to move up. It's 5'11", 188. So he's not a really big receiver, but a lot of speed guys really aren't. The bottom line is this cat can run. He's a decent route runner, not a great route runner, but he's pretty fast and he's got good hands. Sometimes a lot of these speed guys have trouble with their hands. This guy doesn't seem to be one of those. He could probably improve as a route runner, but he's quick off the line, so he beats press coverage, and he can really run. I mean, he's got to go in the first round.
Ben, he's 4.27 in the combine, a 42-inch vertical, a broad jump of 131 inches, and he does have 10 and an eighth inch size hands. So for a 5'11" guy, he's got decent hands, and that's a really good speed. Usually those guys are those 5'8", 5'9" guys that are burning down the 40-yard like that.
Yeah, but he's almost
a 5'11" dude right there.
Yeah, he's almost 6 feet. So he's going to go early. He's going to go early. He's got the measurables that almost every team is looking for.
Well, let me throw my Niners out there into the universe as someone, especially if they're going to screw around and get rid of Marquise Goodwin. For another speed guy, that would be somebody that I would love to see them get.
I have heard their names mentioned. Whether or not they would be willing to try to move up in the draft to try to ensure that they get him, I don't know if they want him that badly, but I have heard their names mentioned.
All right. Right above him, 10th. So we're in the top 10 now. We're entering the top 10 in terms of grades. Tua Tagovailoa. I messed that up.
Tagovailoa.
Thank you. Nah. Alabama, 6.77 as a grade.
So
you got something on this guy.
He's graded out as the number 10 guy overall.
Yeah.
Okay. There are a number of people out there that believe Tua could probably end up being the best quarterback in this draft. Almost everyone agrees, me included, that without the hip injury, he would be the number one rated quarterback coming out and could possibly go number one in the draft, especially considering that the Bengals have the number one pick of the draft and obviously need a quarterback. They consider him a dual threat guy, although I'm pretty sure that, again, considering his little injury history, which sounds a lot worse than it probably is, but considering that, I would think that he would be encouraged not to run as much as he did in college. But you cannot argue with his arm. He throws the ball short. He throws intermediate routes. He can get the ball deep. Not great arm strength, but extremely, extremely accurate. I believe that this guy will have himself, barring injury, a great NFL career.
All
Sees
right.
the really well, reads defenses, does all that.
Looking at since he didn't really do a combine, they just have a overview, strengths and weaknesses. Most of what you mentioned in terms of his strengths are there. Potential dual threat, sudden ball handling on RPO plays. That's that's a hot topic in the NFL right now.
Absolutely.
Rare upper body twitch allows for fast release and has arm talent to make all throws. They do question his stature and mounting durability concerns. They say sometimes he failed to recognize easy throws in developing routes. We've talked about that a lot. I think a lot of NFL quarterbacks have that. I've talked about them throwing the hard pass and getting kudos when their receivers actually catch it on once they've thrown it into triple coverage. It's a great catch, but you had three guys in there looking you in the face open. So that's a situation. So sometimes they say he hurries into frenetic throws with moderate pressure, fails to sit and finish delivery when he's going to be hit, and needs earlier pocket slides to stay ahead of the pressure. And like you said, everybody's hoping that he learns to slide. He's not a baseball guy, though, was he?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of.
Yeah, I think he's all football all the time, and that's his family that he comes from. Okay, ready to move to the next guy? DeAndre Swift, Georgia, 6'7", running back. Now we're in your range.
From Philadelphia.
Oh my goodness, I didn't realize that. He's 5'8", with a 4.48 40.
Right. DeAndre Swift, in my opinion, is probably the first or second best running back coming out this year. He's one of those guys that puts his foot in the ground, cuts hard and goes, hits the hole quickly, has great acceleration once he gets to the second level. He's got good balance. Probably his greatest attribute is that once he gets through the hole, he can make one move and be out. His acceleration is elite, and he has really great speed, really great game speed. Because, people will go, well, this guy ran the 40 in this, and this guy ran the 40 in that. But people have different game speed. This guy's got great game speed. You let him get to the sideline and turn the corner or break past the linebackers, and he's going to make you pay. So that, to me, are some tremendous assets. But his next best asset that will translate well to whoever he ends up with in the NFL is that he can catch the ball. He is a weapon. He can line up wide. He can line up in the slot. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. And again, he's one of these guys, you get him in open space, and he's going to give you a hard time.
Hands are soft and sticky as a pass catcher. That's what they have here.
And I watched Georgia a lot. I watched a lot of LSU, a lot of Georgia, a lot of Alabama. You know, the SEC is king when it comes to college football. So they were on TV like every week. But I've been watching him since he's from Philly. I've been watching him pretty much his whole career. And I think he's going to have a great NFL career.
What they say here in terms of weaknesses, Ben, they only have about 7 of them. I'll run them real quick. Ball security is well below NFL standards with a low carries per fumble mark. Quicker than fast, lacking home run burst. Getaway burst to the outside is just average.
I don't agree with that.
Okay, let me finish. Doesn't move piles or finish with plus authority. Ends up working harder than other backs to find explosive runs. Will need to learn to use his hands in pass protection. Doesn't always trust the vision as a short yardage back. So, okay, which do you disagree with?
The speed and acceleration thing, I think you said. The first or second thing?
Getaway burst. Average. Getaway burst. Quicker than fast, lacking home run burst.
Okay. I don't know where they got that from. Okay. I really don't, because the games I saw, if he gets past the linebackers, he's gone. He's gone. He's either going to score or he's going to get a long run, and the safety's going to have to drag him down. So he's got good acceleration, really good acceleration, and gets to top speed very quickly and gets out of there. I don't know where that comes from. But you know what? And we've talked about this off camera also. Every different outlet or person or talking head is going to tell you something a little bit different about every player. Nobody agrees 100% on any player. Some people are going to say certain things are a strength. Some people are going to say certain things are a weakness. You know, that's the way that goes. But by my eyes, this guy's going to be a top-rated back.
So you like Mr. Swift?
Absolutely.
We have a couple 6'8", 6.8 and 6.81 wide receivers. One Mr. Jerry Jeudy and one Mr. C.D. Lamb. I know everybody's talked about both of those guys. Let's start out with Mr. Jeudy. He came in at 6'8". He's 6'1", 193. He ran a 4.45 with a 35-inch vertical. What do you got on him?
Okay, I've heard some debates about these two players. Very interesting debates. And during the debates, the people who were debating were trying to express the reasons why they thought one guy was better than the other. There is no doubt in my mind that Jerry Jeudy, if he's number one, he's 1A, C.D. Lamb is 1B, or C.D. Lamb is 1A and Jeudy is 1B. I think what makes Jeudy a little better, especially starting out in the NFL, is he's the best route runner I've seen of any of these guys coming out. The best route runner, hands down, by far. This guy is an elite route runner, in fact. He has great hands. He's tough to press. He's quick off the line. He did drop some balls. I did hear some people say that he had a little problem dropping balls. That's a concentration issue. You know, practicing in college and having to go to class and stuff is a little different once football becomes your livelihood. So I'm sure he'll clean that up. But, and you can't tackle him in the open field, too. This guy can really run, man. He's got good size, good agility. The very, very. I'm trying to think of somebody that I can compare him to in the NFL, but that'd take me too long to go down and try to do that. As far as I'm concerned, Jerry Jeudy's the best receiver coming out and should be the first receiver to go. Now, CeeDee Lamb, on the other hand, the reason I think people like him is because I believe he's a little faster. What was his 40 time?
He was 4.5.
Okay.
Judy
was 4.4 something.
4.45.
Okay.
Half a second off.
Yeah.
And they're even about the same height. CD is 6'2", and it looks as if Jerry Jeudy is 6'1".
Jeudy was like 6'1".
Yeah.
I think the thing with CeeDee Lamb is he was without a doubt the man at Oklahoma. Whereas Jeudy had, some other pretty good receivers on that team. So I'll give Lamb that. And I'll also say that Lamb is another guy who is real good with the run after the catch. Okay? It's tough to bring down. Got all kinds of juke moves and what have you. Hands-wise, I think he's just as good as Jeudy. I don't remember him having any major drop passes. I'll tell you, man, it's close. Both of them are going to go early, no doubt about it.
The one thing that both of them, that's being said about both of them, is that they're a little light in the butt. They have here.
Judy's 193, Lamb's 198. I don't have a problem with either of those.
Well, it says here, slender and unlikely to be a first option for working into the noise between the hashes. That's what they have for Jerry Jeudy. And what they have for Lamb, it just says slender build for consideration as a primary target. So they're a little questionable in terms of their size and their heft, I guess. What can I tell you?
I'm not worried about that kind of stuff. These guys are game breakers. They're playmakers. They will make plays, and they will both start immediately wherever they go.
Okie doke. All right. Let's move up. 6.85. Last of those in the 6 range. We're now all in the 7 range above that. So finishing out the 6s is Mr. Jedrick Willis out of Alabama. He is also a tackle. He must be a bad boy if he's all the way up there as a tackle, especially considering Tristan and Andrew Thomas were 6'4", 9", and this gentleman is 6'8", 5". What they're saying about him, if you want me to go ahead and jump on some of that.
Yeah, go ahead.
He ran a 5.05. Looks like maybe unconfirmed, but he's basically a 5 flat 40, a 34-inch vertical, and a 113-inch broad jump at 6'4", 312. So nice size here. He did a 4.84 in a 20-yard shuttle. And they're comparing him, his NFL comparison is Jason Peters.
Okay. That's Jason Peters will probably be in the Hall of Fame. That means a nice, long, strong NFL career is being predicted for him. And also, they're probably saying that because he's a pretty dominant run blocker. Here's a guy that excels at run blocking, which, again, every NFL team needs. He could probably improve as a pass blocker, but because he's got really good size, they can coach him up on that. That shouldn't be a big deal. He's obviously got the high grade because we're getting ready to get into the sevens, and 8 is the highest grade. So again, a team that needs an offensive lineman that can step right in and play, they're going to have to look at guys like Wirfs, and they're going to have to look at guys like this guy Willis. 6'4", 312, really good size. I don't know if he specialized at left tackle or right tackle. I can't remember, but he can probably play either one. You know, most offensive linemen are pretty interchangeable. You know, depending on what team he gets picked by. I know a lot of times guys are outstanding tackles in college, and depending on the team that they go to, they get converted to guard. The big guy like him gets converted to guard. That's not going to be a bad thing. That's for sure.
All righty. Let's get to the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All ranked in that 7+ grade. At 5, Isaiah Simmons from Clemson coming in at 7.03. 6'4", 238. Ran a 4.39 with a 39-inch vertical.
Okay, this guy's near and dear to my heart. And the reason that he's near and dear to my heart is that the New York Football Giants picked 4th in the draft, and he could be available for them. They haven't had a elite player at the linebacker position in a long, long time. And this guy could be LT. I'm not saying he's going to be LT. I'm not saying he's as good as LT, but understand this. He's coming in as a linebacker. In college, he has played slot corner, edge rusher, strong safety, and free safety during his college career, okay? He can blitz. He's a great tackler. Well, he's a good tackler. He can cover tight ends, running backs, and like I said, he's played slot DB. He's extremely versatile. This is the guy that the Giants have needed for a long, long time. I gotta have this guy. Outstanding. Number 1 rated linebacker as far as I'm concerned.
Well, now, weaknesses that they have here. Instincts near the line of scrimmage are a work in progress. Needs to fill out, learn to punch and play off blocks. Will lose contained duties from time to time. Confusion with coverage duties against North Carolina.
That's one game.
Foot area footwork and change of direction. So nothing that can't be coached. Nothing
Exactly.
that can be coached. And they're comparing this gentleman to Darius Leonard.
Okay.
That's a nice comparison.
I like that. Plays for the Colts. I like that.
Yeah.
First of all, the guy's pretty much a physical specimen. 6'4", 238, good speed. And the fact that I think some of those weaknesses may be cropping up because he was so versatile and played all over the doggone place in college. So he never really had a chance to perfect one position, but was skillful enough to play all those positions. I think that's a great thing.
That's a good point. You know, when you're moving around like that, you don't really get to be master, you know, of any one thing, kind of a jack of all trades, master of a few of them, or really, really good at it. So you might have a point there in terms of that. All right. Got to have them for the Giants. We shall see about that, my man. All right. Number 4, coming in with a 7.07 grade, quarterback Joe Burrow. 6'3", 221. They're comparing him to Kurt Warner.
Okay.
And I had a question in your answers or if your information about Joe Burrow, because he has looked awesome. He was a red shirt senior, which meant he was maybe a year older than a lot of the guys he was playing against. That level of maturity any much of an advantage?
Yes. I believe that it is. I believe that it is.
So that advantage is going to be lost when he hits the NFL.
Oh, well, yeah, but it still puts him ahead of the curve as far as an incoming rookie, and as far as being able to play the toughest position in the game and probably be counted on to come in and start right away. That puts him ahead of the curve. I'm told that his football IQ is second to none. He doesn't panic in the pocket. He's a little faster than people think.
I've seen him run a little bit. I think he's, when you compare him to Kurt Warner, it's sort of
he's
downplaying his athletic ability. Way more athletic than Kurt Warner.
I would agree with that. I guess that's kind of what I'm going for. The guy can move a little bit. Kurt Warner wasn't really a guy that you could that could really get you out of trouble if he got forced out of the pocket. Joe Burrow can hurt you. He's got extremely great accuracy. Again, his IQ as far as a quarterback and reading defenses pre-snap, things like that, have been lauded. The only problem that I have with Joe Burrow, and he could prove me wrong, obviously, but the only problem I have with Joe Burrow is he only had one really good season. Now, granted, his one really good season was off the charts. I think the guy threw like 60 touchdown passes or something. But I remember a guy named Dwayne Haskins having that outstanding final year in college also. And that didn't translate to the NFL very well off the bat. So considering that he will probably be expected to come in and start for Cincinnati right away, we'll have to see how that works out for him. Again, although he had a phenomenal season, he only had one. So we'll see.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the Heisman, winning the Heisman, is going to work for him or against him, knowing how quarterbacks have not had the greatest luck in the NFL who've won Heismans.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They have him. They do say polar opposite seasons in 2018 and 19. Level of scheme fit necessary. They have him with below average arm strength and average release quickness.
Okay.
A little bit surprised at that. Steep drop in accuracy on intermediate throws outside the numbers. That might be right along with that arm strength there.
But what makes up for that is his anticipation and his accuracy.
Yeah, and that's what they're saying. Off the charts football IQ. Basically, they're saying he gets through full field progressions with unique internal clock time to the routes. So
exactly. So that'll make up for below average arm strength.
Absolutely. Okay, ready to move on?
Yeah.
Derek Brown coming in at 7.11, a D tackle out of Auburn. Okay, these D tackles is getting it in here in the top 20. Jimmy Christmas, you familiar with him at all? I have him. I'll just give it to you what I do have on him. 6'5", 326 with a 5.16 40, 28 reps on the bench, 27 vertical, 108 broad, 3-cone drill, 8.22, 20-yard shuttle, 4.79. That guy moves a little bit for 326 pounds.
Yeah, he's pretty much a D tackle, although I did think he did play a little D end, but he's not known as a really great pass rusher, but does collapse the pocket, requires double teams quite a bit. Some of the YouTube tape I looked at for him was, of course, they were highlights, so they were showing him beating double teams.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is that teams needed to double team him to have some semblance of control over this guy. He can wreck your quarterback's pocket. So that's his strength. Lining up on the edge and trying to get pressures and sacks isn't really his thing. But, again, depending on where he gets drafted, if he goes to a team that has good edge rushers and he gets plugged in, at the D tackle or at the nose, depending on if they play 4-3 or 3-4, this guy could be very disruptive.
All right, Joe, Derek Brown there at number 3. We're coming down to the top 2 here. Number 2 and number 1, both out of Ohio State, with Jeff Okudah being number 2 at 7.15 cornerback. There's your defense, Ben. The number 2 ranked player coming out of the combine, Jeff Okudah, 6'1", 205 at a 4.48 40. 11 bench press, 41-inch vertical. That's an NBA, right?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, he can dunk.
And then comparing him to Patrick Peterson.
Okay. This guy is undoubtedly, in my opinion, the best DB coming out. And, everybody's talking about what a great draft this is for receivers, and that is true. There's a lot of really good receivers coming out. There's also a lot of really good DBs coming out, especially at the cornerback position. This guy's one of them. He's not extremely tall. Was he 6'1"? Yeah, 6'1", 205.
Yeah, exactly.
Got good speed. The thing about him is he's a straight up coverage corner. This guy's a lockdown. You put him out there, and whoever the receiver is on that side, he's going to be in their pocket. Now, obviously, this is against colleges and not the pros, but we shall see. Usually, a guy like this coming from a school like Ohio State plays in the Big Ten, so he plays big-time receivers, big-time talent. I think he's going to do extremely well and has a possibility, again, depending on where he gets drafted, to step right in and play. If somehow he was to go to a team that had corners where he couldn't really challenge to start, they have to get somebody like him on the field. They might make him a slot corner just to get him on the field because he's got outstanding coverage skills. Outstanding.
I like that they say he's willing to unload on running backs who test him.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing too, because corners aren't known for their tackling skills most of the time.
He's going to come up and blast you, man. Okay, number 1 with a 7.37 DN, Chase Young, also out of Ohio State.
Okay, so who makes all the money in the NFL? What positions? Quarterback, left tackle, and edge rusher. He had, if I'm not mistaken, he had 16 or 17 sacks last season. I heard a stat, I don't want to put the number out there, but he had an inordinate number of tackles for loss. Extremely big stat as far as I'm concerned. That means he's good against the pass and the run. Okay? He's got good power moves. I've seen him overpower people. but he's got good twitch, as they say, good speed. He's able to bend his body to beat bigger tackles that are trying to block him. Extremely athletic. Without a doubt, I mean, there may be arguments about his grade and him grading out as the number one player in this draft, but I would say that there's no doubt that he's the best edge rusher. And it's funny because the best edge rusher coming out last year was also from Ohio State, guy who plays for you beloved 49ers. That's Nick Bosa. This guy's going to be just as good as, if not better than Bosa. And Bosa was Defensive Rookie of the Year last year. So in my opinion, this guy's going to step right in and be good right away.
They're comparing him to Julius Peppers.
It doesn't get much better than that when it comes to comparisons, does it?
I'm just looking to see if there's anything consequential. And
yeah, what do they have for weaknesses for him?
They question his field awareness and anticipation.
Oh, stop it. He's an edge rusher.
Give some ground when setting the edge. Could use a better anchor drop in his lower half. Initial hands lack purpose and skills in the pass rush. It's funny, they say not very instinctive as pass rusher.
Okay, all of these things can be coached. You're 6'5", 264, with great speed, great heart, and a great motor. They can teach you how to use your hands to beat blockers and set the edge. This guy's going to be a star.
All right. All right. Anybody else that you want to throw at me?
I mean, if those are the guys with the highest grades, the highest grades coming in, I would probably agree with that. There will be some competition as far as how their careers shake out, or at least how their first seasons shake out in certain positions like quarterback, running back, the skill positions mostly. I think most of the defensive players, the edge rushers, the linebackers, the DBs, they'll all pretty much come in and be who they are. They'll get coached up and they'll take the skills that they have and just refine them. But there could be a receiver or a couple of receivers out there that kind of jump to the head of the class again, depending on where they get drafted, what team they go to, that team's needs, and how well they're coached. But I think there's going to be some receivers that we haven't mentioned that are just below the Judys and the Lambs and the Ruggses. In fact, there's some receivers out there that I like better than Ruggs, to tell you the truth. Let me see.
Well, CeeDee Lamb had the highest grade as a wide receiver, but next to him was Jerry Jeudy, and below him was Henry Ruggs. Then you have Justin Jefferson, Michael Pittman, Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins, Jalen Reagor, Laviska Shenault, Brian Edwards, Denzel Mims, KJ Hamler.
Okay. I like Shenault. Shenault played for Colorado. I like Shenault. I think Justin Jefferson, I'd take Justin Jefferson over Ruggs. People might say I'm crazy. I really like Justin Jefferson. Okay. He's a standout receiver on the national championship team, a team that had a bunch of really good receivers. And this guy stood out as the number one guy on that team. Justin Jefferson can ball.
4.43 40, comparing him to Greg Jennings.
Okay, I'll take that. Greg Jennings in his prime, when he was with the Packers, I'll take that.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. And in terms of your quarterbacks here, I took a quick look. because that's the position. We all know it. Beyond Joe Burrow, we have Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, Jacob Eason, Jake Fromm, Jalen Hurts, James Morgan, Nate Stanley, Jake Luton, Case Kukas, Anthony Gordon, Tyler Huntley, and a cast of more. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, I'm not thinking about all those guys. A lot of those guys you mentioned are third, fourth, fifth, and sixth rounders. Not to say that one of them or a couple of them could eventually, end up being a good pro quarterback. The guys I'm rooting for, and I'll say two guys that I'm really rooting for to end up having good NFL careers. And one of these guys could possibly be this year's Lamar Jackson, would be Love and Jalen Hurts. Okay? Both dual threat guys. Hurts has more experience with the option and the RPO. The knock on Hurts probably, I don't know. What do you got for Jalen Hurts as far as weaknesses are concerned? Because I know his strengths. This guy played on an Alabama team that was extremely good. He led them to, didn't he win a national championship? I do believe they won a national championship with Jalen Hurts at the helm. And then he transferred to Oklahoma and was outstanding there also.
Yeah, he led the Alabama Tide to a national championship.
Right. And then he ended up transferring to Oklahoma, a team that was really good, but not as packed with talent as those Alabama teams were. Tua kind of chased him out of there. So he went someplace else where he knew he could play big-time college football and be the number one quarterback. So I think that was a smart move for him. I really like Jalen Hurts. And again, like I said, he's a little better at the RPOs than Jordan Love is. Jordan Love is more of a raw guy that people were projecting Lamar Jackson to be, okay? Cannon arm, can fit the ball in tight windows, but little suspect with pre-snap reads, tends to have every quarterback's got to have good anticipation skills, but if you're not good with your pre-snap reads, you may kind of anticipate something. How can I put this? You're going to see a lot more defenses in the NFL than you see in college. Okay, so what you see in the NFL may not be what you get once the ball gets snapped. So he's going to have to be coached up as far as reading defenses is concerned. Hurts, I think, has him beat on that. And I think that Herbert has both of them beat on that. And Herbert's a 4-year starter. And Herbert is 6'6". So, again, and I said again 10 times, and I'm going to say it again. It all depends on who gets these guys, what situations they're put in once they get drafted. I'm sure all of them, whatever team they go to, other than Burrow, it'll be hoped that they'll be able to sit at least for 1 year behind a veteran guy, get in the quarterback room, learn the NFL game, sharpen up their pre-snap reads and all that and the different defenses that they can see before they are pushed into playing. But I think any of them would be able to stand up if, in fact, they did have to get out there and play.
All right.
Except for maybe Love. Love is going to need some work. I'm hoping that Love goes to a team that has an established starter where he won't have to worry about, being called on his rookie year.
Jalen Hurts is being compared to Tim Tebow.
I think that's horrible. That's disrespectful. It's disrespectful.
All right. They have his some
You know
question.
who I compare Jalen Hurts to? I compare Jalen Hurts to Cam Newton. How's that?
Cam.
That's right.
Okay. All right. All right. No argument from me. All right. What's next? You ready to move on to next up on Ben and Barry?
Yeah, what do you got?
Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. His exclusive franchise tag number has been recalculated to 31.409 million from 26.8 based on the new numbers as they're coming out with the new revenue streams. And strangely enough, it's almost like in the stock market where you're projecting revenues and then you get a coronavirus pandemic and an economic crash. So I don't know, it's one thing to say you're expecting all these revenues from TV and everything, which they're going to need to make up for the fact that it looks like they could possibly be playing with no audience, maybe going into the first of the year, depending on how things work out. So he could be getting closer to 31 million. I think you said he wanted a little more than that. Am I correct?
I believe that he was asking for 35, 30, 34 at the lowest. And that's why I believe that, Jerry Jones is a funny dude, man. But I understand the game, it's a business. So if he's willing to tag him and let him make 31, why couldn't you just lock him down and pay him 32 or 33? I don't know exactly what they offered him. I believe I heard that they offered him 30. So now if he wants 34 and they offer him 30, I would negotiate hard. He is obviously their quarterback. They obviously love him. I don't, and what's not to love? The guy's a really good quarterback. I mean, look at his numbers. He was a top-rated quarterback for the entire season. Every year he's gotten better. But that doesn't necessarily mean they should have gave him what he wanted. I understand, they had a lot of people to pay. But not being able to get this deal done for your franchise quarterback, I don't know if I agree with those tactics.
Kirk Cousins just got paid again. And we compared him to Kirk Cousins to some degree. Kirk say, okay, 35, 32. All right, what's a couple million? Give me 32 for 3 years and let's keep on rolling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's an amazing. You want to beat yourself up, but 35 mil is a lot of money. 32 mil is a lot of money. And look, you should be able to make up to 3 mil in the commercials and all of that.
Oh, so, yeah, sure.
So I'm really questioning, how wise that is. But, they paid Zeke early. They paid him a lot. And now they have to make up for the difference. You and I kind of last year realized that a lot of the games that they lost was more so on their defense than was on him and his ability to score. So, maybe they need to just, I'm not sure where their salary cap is and where they stand on defense, but I think that they really needed to get that. So if they're not paying him because of wins and losses, I think that's where I'm kind of going with this. They have to, I think they're missing out if they don't calculate in the fact that a lot of those losses weren't necessarily on him. Their defense didn't show up in a lot of particular situations. So some questions about that. All right. I know you were not happy as you heard this news a little late. Mr. Rob Gronkowski is looking like he has joined the Buccaneers and is reuniting with Brady. And that's going to bring some excitement into the NFC South.
Yes, no doubt about it. It looks like Tampa Bay is really on to something. And it's not that I wasn't happy. It's just that I wish I had heard about it sooner. And usually I'm on top of things. But for some reason, I don't know what I did to my phone, but I did not get a notification about this. And it kind of slipped by me. I would really have loved to have been on top of this move. But I guess the question is now, well, before we talk about the questions, let's talk about the facts. Tom Brady is the quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady can still play. Some people have been speaking of Tom Brady's demise for the last 5 or 6 years, and it hasn't happened yet. So again, here we go, getting ready to go into a new season, and folks are like, this could be it. He's going to fall off a cliff. He ain't got it no more. I believe the Patriots made the playoffs and got beat in the first round, the wild card round, by Tennessee. But let's go back and look at their offense. They were really lacking at the skill positions. I mean, although they had a really good defense and won a lot of games on the strength of their defense, Tom Brady carried that offense on his back with outstanding throws, masterful play calling, masterful execution of plays. I give the coaching staff a lot of credit also. Give the coaching staff a lot of credit. But that offense was lacking in firepower, yet somehow Tom Brady was able to drag those guys along and get them as far as he can get them. And then lo and behold, the great defense, top 3 defense almost the entire season, couldn't tackle Derrick Henry. And they end up losing. So, now he's going to Tampa Bay. So he's going from Mohamed Sanu, Julian Edelman, Philip Dorsett to Mike Evans.
And I was thinking about N'Keal Harry.
Yeah, right. Well, I think he got hurt in training camp, so he didn't do much for him. Hopefully he'll have a bounce back season. We really don't know how good he can be because he only played in a few games.
All right, let's jump one more subject. I'm reading here about rumors between the Vikings and the Browns talking about a deal for Odell Beckham Jr. Have you heard this?
Yes. Now, I have been trying to follow this, and as far as I can tell, it's still only rumors. Of course, the Browns are denying it, which means absolutely nothing. But it makes sense for the Vikings, seeing as how they just traded Stephon Diggs. If it happens, I won't be surprised. If Beckham goes anywhere, I won't be surprised. So, I don't think he's happy there. He acts like he is, but I don't think he is. I think he'll be more content there now that the coaching situation has changed. But if he gets traded, I won't be surprised.
I commented on this that it looks like the Vikings might be going from a level 3 diva to a level 5 diva.
Well, that could be. Remember now, every year the guy gets a little older and a little bit more mature. He wasn't really a problem last season. Not really. He kept his mouth shut for the most part,
He had his moments. We're talking about showing up in the games wearing a Rolex and.
The thing with the watch was pretty weak, if you ask me. I don't think that was a big deal. I think that was a little pushback on the coach.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I believe that was a little pushback on the coach. I believe that this coach went out of his way to try and control somebody that didn't really necessarily need to be controlled. Now, granted, the watch thing was wrong. He shouldn't have worn the watch, but he knew he shouldn't have worn the watch. But when the coach made a big deal of it and made a big deal of things that weren't really big things, I think he said, the heck with you. I'm wearing the doggone watch. I'm wearing shoes with 53 different colors on them. I'm not going to pull my socks up all the way. You know, that's little things. They're little petty little things. Again, he is still a diva, okay? He just has to get in the right situation. I wish the Giants had never gotten rid of him. I really did.
Okay. All right. Now, well, we'll see if Kirk Cousins can get him straight there. If he decides
if that's where he ends up. If that's where he ends up.
Last couple things I'll throw out there. Rest in peace to former Seahawks quarterback Tavares Jackson, passed away from an auto accident.
Yeah, I heard about that. That's a shame.
Yeah, 36 years old, man. It's just way too young after having, such a career and et cetera. So really sorry to hear that. I showed a little bit of the video. We talked about it. I told you, I said, Ben, you got to see this dime that was thrown.
Yeah, let me see this so-called lucky pass you threw.
Let me see if I get your picture. There you go. The lucky pass. Let's see how it goes. 35 with just under 2 minutes left. And this is what happens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
First down.
Nice. Tight window. Nice.
The funny thing about that play was that's a play where Kittle goes into motion from left to right, lines up like a slot, and then runs a post. I was successful with that a few plays earlier. And this was a situation where we were like I said, it was third down, tie game. I had to try to get in the scoring position with time running out. I went to the same play, but I always keep my eye on my receiver there. And they've traded him away already. Gee, me Christmas. But he runs that sort of a deeper post. So I just happened to look up because they literally knocked Kittle off of his route and completely disrupted his route. And I'm like, uh-oh. But I looked up and I saw him, and that was a win coming down the thing. That's what we do when you're locked at home. You got to play your games. I was telling you a little earlier, I think everybody out here playing video games now, some people are going to be a lot better because they're getting a lot more practice. They're running these games on TV instead of real football.
Right.
But some of these people in some of these tournaments don't really play Madden, and somehow they're in the tournament. And I think I had mentioned to you that in this one particular tournament that Snoop Dogg is in, everybody's banking on Snoop Dogg to win this thing, man, up against NFL players.
Well, I don't know. Did that tournament start yet?
Yeah, it started. I know I saw a couple games.
Can he play? Can he play? Did he win?
I didn't see him. I did not see him. But the game that I did see, the lady was talking about she really doesn't play. It was a lady that was playing. She doesn't play Madden that often. She plays other video games, and she's still trying to learn her buttons. And she, I forget who she played, but she beat the slap out of that guy, and he was an NFL player. So I don't think you're going to get high quality Madden play out of these NFL celebrity tournaments. What we'll have to look for is some real Madden players that are really in there and they're intense, and they're ready they're playing for money. They're playing for livelihood. They're not just
right. Those guys can play, man.
Those guys are good. Those guys are good. Kind of reminiscent of your brother in his heyday.
Yeah.
Beat the slap out of me that one time. Let me score on him too. That was a bad thing. Let me score one touchdown. Then I think he put up 40 points after that. Oh, you think you can play? Eh? Okay.
Yeah, he was a beast. No doubt about it.
No doubt. All right. So generally what we do at the end here, we just want to mention, again, this is Ben and Barry on football. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on LinkedIn. Follow us at www.benandbarryonfootball.com, which will take you to our YouTube page. Before we wrap up, any last comments?
No, just that I'm looking forward to the draft. This will be a virtual draft. It's going to be extremely interesting to see how they pull this thing off. Goodell is going to be down in his basement calling out the draft order. There won't be any war rooms with a bunch of GMs and personnel guys walking around and manning the phones. Everybody's going to kind of be in their own homes. I don't think you're going to see more than 2 or 3 people in one place. The players will probably all be at home and with their families. So we'll see some real nice family celebrations, I would assume, if they have camera crews out there, or they'll just, they'll be online. So that should be fun. And it's been rumored that, considering this is the first time something like this has ever been done, there's probably going to be some glitches and some technical difficulties. And if in fact that is the case, it's a good chance that the New England Patriots are behind it.
All right. Gentlemen, the Patriots again. Hey, Christmas.
Look.
Hey, look. The next thing they know, they might be blaming Tampa Bay. Brady's down there getting them balls deflated a little bit. Can you soften that one up a little bit for me, buddy, please?
He's going to get what he wants, man. He's going to get everything that he wants down there, and his input on the offense is going to be greater. Okay, and all those years with the Patriots, he done picked Josh McDaniels' brain. So that, on top of a pass-happy head coach, it's going to be fireworks.
Do want to mention, I actually heard an interview with the owner of the basketball Milwaukee Bucks talking about how they could get back on track. And it occurs to me that our NFL or NBA teams might actually provide a blueprint for corporate America. And what he talked about was testing. If you know anything if you've actually seen my personal Facebook profile, you know that I'm a big advocate. I think that testing is what's going to be required to lead us out of this particular financial malaise, that you really are not going to be able to get the economy up and running until we're at a point where we can almost ubiquitously test. And I do believe that testing is we're going to have to partner with corporate America. So what the owner of the Bucks said was, yes, we're going to have to test everybody. Then we're going to have to test everybody, not just the players, but all the surrounding players. They're talking about playing with no audience. So they're going to have to test those guys, and then maybe even keep them in isolation to some degree, to finish out the season. So it's going to be very interesting, but I don't think anything's going to happen without testing, because we're flying blind. I have a hashtag that says quarantine the COVID-19, because we're all quarantining ourselves because nobody knows who has it. But once we're able to test it, I'm hearing that the president just enacted some act which allows them to sort of push corporate America into making more test kits and things of that nature. I've seen what's the printer, the 3D printers. There's some companies now that are 3D printing the test swabs that are required. So corporate America is stepping up. The need for testing is being recognized by NBA owners and business leaders. And as long as, people, like, if once you're tested and you know that you're clean, then you can go back to work, and then assuming that you have a clean work environment, you have a level of security that you're not going to be sick, as a result of just going to work. So I'm throwing that out to the universe. More testing, better testing, testing in conjunction with employers, and I think that's going to be the way to get us out of this particular recession / potential depression, and into back to work and back to productivity for the American people. Last words, Mr. Dickerson?
Only last words I would have would be go Noles.
There you go. Thanks a lot.